Are you wondering what to know before buying a house in Dayton, Ohio, or Tipp City, or anywhere in the Miami Valley of Ohio? Questions like, how can I avoid common mistakes? Where do I look first? What websites are the most helpful? Most people will either say Zillow or Realtor.com, and I know there's a lot of other options out there as well. But today, I want to tell you about an option you likely do not know about, and tell you why, in my opinion, it should be your go-to for research. Hi, my name is Lydia Rowe, a realtor here in the Miami Valley of Ohio, and one of the things I love most about my job is getting to cut through the lies and the smoke of the media, of paid advertisements on Google, and big money companies that aim to capitalize on people's ignorance in the real estate realm. Listen, you're smart, and you ultimately are the one that is going to make the best decision regarding buying your next home in Tipp City, Troy, Vandalia, Inglewood, West Milton, or anywhere else in the Dayton, Ohio area. It kills me when people make huge mistakes when buying real estate due to lack of information or lack of access to that information. Today, I'm going to point out 2 of those common mistakes, and then I'm so excited to walk you through my new website. This is a free resource for you, and I'm going to show you exactly how to find the information you're looking for and do some pretty specific searches. You can also save them by school district or neighborhood. Now, there are 2 common mistakes that I see all too often when it comes to buying a home. And the first mistake I want to talk about is waiting too long to call a realtor. I hesitated to put this in here because since I'm a realtor, it sounds a little bit like a marketing ploy, but please hear me out because it's that important. For a lot of folks, there's this stigma regarding realtors, annoying, pushy, in it for the commission, etc., etc. And I know all of them because, to be 100% honest, I was one of the leading champions in making this mistake before I got into real estate myself. I did not want to talk to a realtor. So why would someone thinking about buying a home wait to call a realtor or even avoid it at all costs like I did? I can think of a few. First is you aren't really sure if you even want to buy or when you're going to be ready, and you don't want to waste anyone's time. This is admirable for sure, but it isn't going to help you. Let me explain. Part of my job is helping people understand the local market. Not only can I give you insight into strategic timing, but I'm also locked and loaded with important questions to ask you to help you determine your options. I'm all about the options, and there's always more than one to consider, and lots of times it's one that you haven't considered. Here is where trust comes in, and another reason people wait too long. They don't trust their realtor. They think that if they start to talk to a realtor, that realtor will try to talk them into something or skew the data to their favor. And y'all, I'm sorry to say that this does happen in the industry. You need to find a realtor who's not afraid to tell you the truth, even if it means losing your business. Let me give you an example of this. I had a young woman approach me about buying a home. She wanted to look at a $200,000 home, and after a few questions, I realized that I did not think she could afford $200,000. I wasn't sure, but I urged her to get pre-qualified first so that she would know what she could afford. Turns out we needed to stay under $180,000. Now, I know that just because you qualify for $180,000 doesn't mean that that's what you should spend. Oftentimes, what you qualify for would really push the limits of your budget if you went at the top end, especially if you have other expenses to consider that might not have shown up when the lender put it in their formula. Like, for instance, what if you really like to travel and you spend a lot more than your average Joe on travel? You qualify for $180,000, but if you bought a house for $180,000, you wouldn't have the extra money for travel that you now have. Or maybe you qualify for $400,000, but you have kids headed to college in the next couple of years. Things like that you want to consider, and a good realtor is going to help you figure out that range that is good for you and not push you to go full in just for a higher commission. Just make sure you trust who you're working with and set the parameters that you feel comfortable with. On the other hand, even though I hear horror stories of realtors showing homes out of their buyer's price range, that doesn't benefit anyone. However, I want to tell you this other story. I had a couple who was trying to stay in a certain range, but they were also super specific on some features that they really wanted, some non-negotiables. And they were passing on really good homes because they wanted these certain things. And the more that we looked, the more that I realized we are not going to be able to find a home at that price with those features. At the risk of sounding like I was trying to grab at a higher commission, I let them know my findings and that we are either going to need to change what they're looking for or go into the next bracket for price. They actually could comfortably spend a good bit more, so we started looking in a different range and found a house that was perfect for them pretty quickly. Bottom line, the whole reason that you hire a realtor is for their knowledge and expertise, so use it. And hire someone who will give it to you straight, even if it's not what you want to hear. Now, I know that there's always those stories of people who find that perfect house at the perfect price. And if you're in a position to wait and not in a hurry, I'm happy to wait it out with you and find that once in a lifetime deal. But often I find you do need to compromise in order to get into your next home. You just need to make sure that you don't compromise on the things that are super important to you. Trust is essential in any relationship, and it's essential in your relationship with your realtor if you're going to utilize their resources to the maximum. And if you don't know any realtors, so you don't have any trust yet, take some time to interview them. Give them a few scenarios and see how they'd respond. I would never have a problem with someone calling and asking me some questions. If you have a realtor you trust, then bringing them into the process sooner is better. I don't see it as a waste of time at all to help people. I am looking to build relationships and clients for life. If I show you 20 houses and something changes and you end up putting that on hold and waiting for a couple months or a couple years even, that's okay. I love when I get paid for my work, of course, but I understand this is a long-term relationship business. I'm confident that if I look out for the best interests of my clients, I'm honest and thorough, provide helpful resources, I'll have more than enough business. I'm not looking for a one-off or a quick sale at the cost of what's best for someone. I'm looking for clients for life. And there's other realtors out there who are looking for the same thing. All right, number 2 most common mistakes made by a buyer is calling the sign in front of the house or the listing agent on a home that you're interested in. Meaning you're looking for a home and doing it maybe mostly on your own, Zillow or whatever, and when you find a home you want to see, you call the sign. Now, I'm kind of outing myself here. I love it when people call my signs. But when you call the sign, you are speaking with a realtor who represents and is already in contract with the seller. The seller is their client and they have fiduciary obligations to the seller. Of course, they'd be thrilled to show you the home that they're listing, especially if you're not represented by a realtor, because that means that if they sell you the home, they get both sides of the commission. Come on, what realtor wouldn't want that? This really drives me nuts because most of the time buyers don't know what they're getting into with this. It's one thing if they do. Sometimes there might be situations when it could work, but most of the time they don't. And sometimes it's even because they've got bad information. So in Ohio, at least at the time of this recording, it's the sellers who pay both the listing agent and the agent who brings the buyer, aka the buyer's agent. So essentially, as a buyer, you can have the luxury of full representation and you don't even have to pay for it. There may be a small admin fee or some additional cost you negotiate if you end up buying a for sale by owner or auction or something like that, where the seller doesn't pay the buyer's agent commission. But 99% of the time, it's the seller who pays both commissions. So what does this mean for you as a buyer? Why would you not find someone that you trust to help you find your home and negotiate the sale? And if you're adamant about not needing any help with the finding, at least call them when you want to go see a home or are ready to make an offer, because there's no good reason not to have someone representing you in this. And if you do go with the listing agent as your representative, that makes them a dual agent. It's legal. They need to disclose it. But that means that legally they cannot favor either side. However, they already have a relationship with the seller. So as you can see, this can be kind of difficult. Oftentimes, if an agent represents both sides, they're going to discount their commission. However, the sellers pay that commission. So you can see that this can be a benefit to the sellers, but not necessarily to you. Now, if you call my sign, I will be happy to work with you. And often, here's the thing, you end up not really wanting that home that you went to look at. And I could become your representation and we can find your home together. But if you're a buyer and you want me to represent you and my seller as a dual agent, we're going to need to have a serious conversation and make sure that you understand what that means and it's in the best interest of everyone involved. Now, why do buyers do this to begin with? Why wouldn't they just call a buyer's agent off the bat? I can think of a few reasons. First is, Maybe they have been annoyed with realtors in the past and they don't want to talk with one. I get this, I'm an introvert. But let me just insert here that if you hate talking to your realtor so much, then find one that you enjoy. One of my first questions to my potential clients is, how do you like communication and how often? If I'm going to help you, we're going to need to regularly communicate. But I'm fine with email, text, phone, in person. I can set up searches where you get info on new listings as soon as they hit the market, or in a weekly summary if you're looking more casually. If you need to chat and work through feelings, I can help like that. Or if you just want the facts and no chit chat, that's okay too. The last thing I want to do is annoy you. Another reason I find often is that buyers avoid calling a realtor because they don't want to bother someone and they don't want to have to be on someone else's schedule. What if I want to see a house right now and my realtor isn't available until tomorrow? Or they want to keep their options open and they might be talking to several realtors to show them houses in different areas. There's a couple issues with this. First, this is our job and we want to make a living. We aren't bothered by you. Second, this is where choosing the right realtor is important. I'm pretty flexible, but if I can't accommodate when you want to look, I have a great network of other realtors who'd be happy to do the showing for me. The value of working with one realtor is that they're looking out for you. Sometimes there's a hidden gem that hasn't even hit the market yet, but if I know what we've been looking at and what you're looking for, you can snag a deal. If I have someone else show you a house because of scheduling conflicts, I'm still the one that will write the deal, that will negotiate for you when you want to make an offer. You really want someone on your side. I can't stress that enough. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Now, these are not super used in our area, but I even recommend signing an exclusive buyer agency agreement with the realtor that you like and trust the most when you're looking. This then gives them the exclusive right to represent you in your purchase, and it legally binds them to act in your best interest. It also tells them that you're serious. If I know someone is serious and ready to buy and wants me to represent them, I'm going to be looking for them multiple times a day. I'm going to be actively seeking out their next home like it was mine. If I have a buyer that's hesitant to commit, that kind of seems flaky, I'll be happy to set up searches and show houses as needed, but a customer is not the same as a client. Okay, so where to start when you're looking to buy? Zillow and Realtor.com are good little browsers to keep your pulse on the market, but here's where they fall short. They don't actually know the area. They have no access to anything until it's public knowledge, and they don't know you at all. So my advice is that a trusted realtor is your best resource. Now I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, so I'm certainly not just talking about me. There are some fantastic realtors in the Miami Valley, people I would recommend in a heartbeat. Ask around, give a few a call and interview them. Find someone who's knowledgeable, available, and who you don't mind talking to, because if you dread calling someone, you won't do it. I truly believe that is your best bet. But if you want to do some research on your own before talking to anyone in person, and you're here in the Miami Valley or looking here, let me show you my new website. It is full of helpful resources for you, and I made sure that they were available to you without you having to put your information in there, your personal info. Most realtor websites, you can look at a couple properties, but if you want to look at more, you need to put in your info. Why? This is called lead capture. Yes, it's smart and it makes sense to get you into a database and start communicating with you, but I want to work with people who want to work with me. Regardless of that, the resources I have available on my website are good, and I want to provide them to anyone who wants them. Let's take a look at why my website is different and how to get the most out of it. Okay, so let's go to my website. It is www.listwithlydia.com. And so here it is, www.listwithlydia.com. And if you are looking as a buyer, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look as if you are a buyer looking in the area. So I want to show you a few things. Let's scroll down here first. So your search starts here. That is where we will start, but let me show you what else is on here. I've got a link to my videos here. Click there, you get right to my YouTube channel where you can watch a lot of videos that could be super helpful for you. And then go back here. I also have these free buyer and seller guides. These are incredible resources. I'm not afraid to say that. Let me show you what they are. A lot of times people will um, have this available to you if you give them your information, but I wanted to make them available to anyone that needs them. Now this, things to consider when selling your house, thing to consider when buying a home, a guide to guide to buying your first home. These three are all going to be updated quarterly. And I'll just show you what these look like if you're a buyer and what you might find. So these, again, this is the winter edition. We'll get a spring one here coming up, but you can see what's happening in the housing market, expert insights for today's home buyers, 3 trends that are good news for home buyers, top reasons to own your home. So there's just a lot of information in here um, that can be super helpful if you're looking to buy a home. Just flip through a few of these here. Um, and this, like I said, since it's out quarterly, it's going to be more up to date information and not necessarily things that always apply, but things that apply right now if you're looking. But since I'm going to update it monthly, you're going to have access to all of the updated information. I like this one, reasons to own a home. There's lots of reasons that you might not have considered. And the non-financial benefits of homeownership. So again, just great information in here. Let's go back. This one is the one I want to show you. Um, this is a great, I always ask my buying clients to at least take a look at this, whether you've bought several homes or whether it's been a while. This is a great place to come to really know what to expect through the entire process. So I walk you through, um, getting pre-approved, deciding what you need, kind of some warnings about like not spending money. Lots of times people spend money during the buying process and then it messes up their ratios and their home loan. Um, so just a lot of things that are going to keep you from making mistakes, but also just information that you want to know. Um, Let me show you a few other things here. So like, um, if you're looking at, for instance, if you're looking for sale by owners, like some tips for that. Um, Foreclosures and short sales, deciding how much to offer, crafting your offer, what's earnest money, how do you negotiate, what do you do when you lose a home, what do you do when you win a home, how to get your mortgage started once the process has begun. There's after pre-approval and after you've found a home, there's a whole other process, and then the home inspection, and then the appraisal, um, and then homeowners insurance and transferring utilities and walkthroughs and the closing day and all of it. So, and then I've also got some just recommended folks that you can talk to. So that guide is super helpful and a great place to start if you want some information on buying a home. Now, I want to show you the property search because it's really I do have featured areas on here you can click on. Let's look at Tipp City real quick. It just is going to give you, kind of what's available, just a quick click, what's available in those markets. I'll also show you, so that you know the zip code you're looking for. You can scroll down to the bottom. And so Tipp City zip code is 45371. I'm going to find that. This one's just a little different because it talks a little bit about Tipp City. And then I also posted my video there. But then it also just gives you this little breakdown, like the most popular listing right now, the most expensive listing right now, and the least expensive listing right now. So it's kind of a cool, like just quick view of a zip code that you're looking for. And if there's a zip code that you're looking for that I don't have it there in there, I can get that to you. I just put the ones that I work in the most on there. So there's that. It also has like this real estate market health, which is super great to look at. So just, it also has some neighborhoods, but it doesn't have all of them. So just wanted to show you that. You can see on the market health, you can see how there's the new listings in this market has really gone up. The price reductions have gone down. So where there was more reductions, now there's less. And short sales are just the same. There's not really any foreclosures going on in Tipp City right now. So just good information. Let's go back here again to. Now, you could either use this. This is just a quick one.
You can also go here where you have more options. And I believe that is the same if your search starts here, start your search. Yep. So, and the thing that I think is probably one of the most useful for people is school district. So this could be useful either if you have kids that you're wanting to keep in the same school district, if you have kids that play sports that, certain schools are better than others, or if, certain schools are better than others, period. When you go and look at the ratings and things, because that's going to affect resale value as well. So it's just kind of nice to be able to search by school. So for instance, if you were, say that you were wanting to look just in Fairmont, in the Kettering Fairmont School District, then you would click that. And then you would do your regular criteria. So say that we're looking, under 300,000. Then here, I'm just have it listed as single family. You could look for condos or multifamily also under this other tab. If you want to look at rentals as well, you can, or farms. But right now I'm just looking for single family. If you have a maximum or minimum square foot, say that you really don't want to live in anything under 1,000 square feet. I would highly recommend, as you're doing your searches, to make these pretty broad. So for instance, if you do this and say that there's a house that's like 990 square feet, you wouldn't get to see it. So I oftentimes try to make these pretty broad. And I oftentimes just I can always weed them out if it's a 600 square foot house, right? And then same thing with like acreage. Say that you really want a half an acre, but you found like this perfect house that ends up being less than that, or quite a bit less than that. It's just a good idea to keep these pretty wide unless there's an absolute non-negotiable and you have time to look for it. So let's just see what pops up here if I'm looking in the. So you can see it's even nice because it outlines then the school district for you, and you can see the houses in that range. Let's go ahead and then, so say that you are looking in this area, then you could save the search, and then it will start as things start coming on the market. It will give you that. You can also go to this free market report and do a market report for a certain area. Or county or city or neighborhood. So very, very good. I do want to do a quick, we're going to go back here again, and we're going to go to, I'm going to go ahead and take these out. I don't want to look for rentals or farms, but I do this time want to look at Tipp City. And so there are 2 school districts in Tipp City, and say that I don't really care. They're both good schools, so I want to do both. So what you can do is you could just then search just for Tipp City and not the school. So just Tipp City is what you would do. But say that you did want to look at just Tipp City Exempted Village School District, or just Bethel. Go ahead and look at Bethel local schools and see what pops up if we apply that filter. So then you can see what Bethel School District looks like and what's available with your criteria. So just a great way to search. And what's nice is, so you could do several of them. You could save several of these searches. So say that you wanted to look, I had one client who was looking at the Miami East School District or the Tipp City Exempted Village, but they didn't want Bethel and they didn't want Troy City schools. So you could just do 2 different searches and save the results, and then you'll start getting information as it comes to that. Now, of course, best case scenario is we're working together, because you might miss some things with these searches. You're definitely going to miss anything that's off the market, or that's maybe listed. I don't know. This is going to anything listed on any MLS. But you're going to miss maybe some for sale by owners or some auctions and things like that. So there's other places we'll want to look if you're looking for that sort of listing. So anyways, there you have it. Just a great way that you can search for your next home.
So once we've developed enough trust that you reach out, I want you to know that I have access to a few more resources I can provide, like neighborhood market reports. These are great if you aren't from the area and you're trying to get a feel for it. And I can get super specific, like certain subdivisions. If you're looking in Tipp City, don't forget to check out this video next and subscribe, or keep checking in for more videos. I try to post every week. Listen, I know this is a big deal, but you've got this, and I have got your back. Talk to you soon.